If there's anybody out there who has succumbed to a scarcity mentality, let me just tell you, I did not envision that I could be living in a place so big for so cheap with such incredible housemates, my friend and his cat, in New York City. This is not something that I was thinking was an actual possibility, right? Hey friends, it's Chrysantilus and welcome back to the realm. I am currently in a completely different setup, okay? I have done my best to make it look like my old setup, but I am in a completely different state. I am in New York City. I found a really good deal on a very spacious place. I have an entire studio set up here, and I'm going to tell you guys the story of how I was supposed to be up here for 4 days and how that ended up with me not even knowing when I'm gonna go back home. I literally do not know when this trip will end. I am here indefinitely. At least for 2 months, I will say, at least for 2 months. We'll see past that. But yeah, I've been having a good time in the city. I've been having a wonderful brat summer. I hope you have been too. I'm in a beautiful neighborhood in Brooklyn. That's all I will say. If I trusted the internet not to be weird, I'd be more than happy to share that information. But, okay, that's all I'll say on that. Brooklyn is lovely. I am closer to my sister, who y'all know, some of y'all know. She lives and works in New York City. I'm having a wonderful time. And this video is going to just be about how I've been living on impulse this year. I came out here pretty impulsively. I extended my trip out here pretty impulsively, and I want to share with y'all what I've learned about living impulsively and just honoring your impulses, right? So please stick around until the end of the video. I will definitely be sharing all the lessons that I've learned. That you could take it or leave it. You could take it or leave it. I will share with you what I have learned from my own impulses and listening to them more. But first, if you're new here, welcome. Chrysantilus is a realm dedicated to demystifying and destigmatizing the trip. You can get with the realm on Instagram and TikTok at Chrysantilus. And you can DM me on Patreon. I am a one-woman production studio, okay? Everything you see here, it's me. It's me, which can be a lot. And YouTube has been making my typical content harder and harder to monetize, which is why I have to do out of niche videos, life update videos like this one. So please, you guys, for the future and the sake of our channel, if you are a regular here, if you love what we're doing, if you support us, we are a super small channel. We could use all that support over on Patreon. We have tiers starting at $5 a month. Please go over to Patreon. It's the specific support this channel needs right now to survive. And the link for that is in the description. You can also find similar videos like this in the My Life playlist. As I said, I've been living on impulse for the past, I don't know, probably since the end of last year. The beginning of this year, the end of last year, I spent a lot of that on a farm that my friends have, a lovely homestead in Georgia. After Georgia, I came back, I got into TikTok lives, and that started going really well. So impulsively, I went to Mexico for 5 weeks. Then, while I was in Mexico, I realized, hey, you're producing a film right now, and you have 2 friends who are going to be editing that in New York. Maybe you should get to New York and help them out a bit. Lend a hand where you could, be closer to them. So I started looking for a place to stay around the same area that my friend who is directing the film lives in. As luck would have it, I was actually able to get a room exactly where he lives. So we are actually living together now. And it's been a really lovely experience. I have loved being here. The neighborhood is literally so lovely. Everything just lined up like with such synchronicity in time. Like it could not have been a more perfect time for me to come here. It's not too cold. And yeah, I think if you're watching this right now, especially if you're single, especially if you don't have kids, like my message is to be more impulsive. For me, I am single. For me, I don't have kids. For me, why wouldn't I want to come up to New York, at least for the summer, and have a really fun time up here? And once I got up here, I began getting more opportunities. I began seeing more friends, more connections. There's way more networking up here than where I was living before in the DMV. And I couldn't have imagined that it would be this nice. I couldn't have imagined that I'd get this big ass space, enough to fit a YouTube studio in, and like my typical regular setup. It's been absolutely incredible. I really don't have too many complaints. All of the city stuff that could be a problem, since I lived in Baltimore for so long, it's not too much of a problem. My only big concern living up here is really the pandemic, and still being a COVID cautious person who sprays Covixel and wears their masks and stuff. I wasn't getting COVID before, and that's probably the biggest risk of being up here. But yeah, so I had originally planned to come up here for 4 days to visit my sister, and we had tickets, which this was her Christmas gift to me, tickets to see Joe Hisaishi. He is the composer for Hayao Miyazaki movies, okay? So if you've seen Hayao Miyazaki movies, you have heard Joe Hisaishi. And when I was in Mexico, it just hit me like, girl, you're doing numbers on TikTok right now. Like, you're doing the things. Like, when is it going to be enough to make a move? Or when is it going to be enough to at least experiment, to at least get out of your shell a bit? And I'm like, if it's not enough now, it's not going to be enough. So literally the first conversation I had with my friend about potentially moving in with him was when I was in Mexico. I was literally in Mexico at the Guadalajara airport at a Shake Shack on the phone with my friend talking about potentially moving up here. And I told him, I'm a really good roommate. I'm one of the best roommates I've known. I'm very clean, very organized. I take care of things. Sometimes free pastries pop up. Okay. But yeah, and very communicative. And he was like, that all sounds great. I might or might not have a room that could open up for you in time for you to get out here. Originally it was 4 days. When my friend told me he could potentially put me up, I said 2 months. I'll spend 2 months in New York. I'll see how it goes. I have friends who live up here. They're very happy. And my sister is here. Literally my sister. So I had a ride back down 2 months later. I was gonna stay here from July, I think it was the 4th of July, I got here on the 4th of July, to the end of August. But then I saw my favorite DJ / producer, musician, Marsh, is playing a show here at the end of September. And I said, hold up, wait a minute. It could be a sign. It could be a sign that I should stay in New York a little bit longer. And now my friends are plotting for me to stay here indefinitely. They are plotting on my upfall. My friend, I was talking to her the other day. She's like, when are you planning on going back? And I was like, I don't have a plan yet. I don't have a day to go back. And she was like, oh, good. Like, oh, yay, awesome. And my sister thinks that I could stick it out here, see how things go. I don't know. I haven't been in a city in over a year. Y'all know I've been living at home, saving up my money. For anybody who's a creative, I highly recommend taking that route if you have it. I will have to say the sacrifice of independence that I've made over the past year and a half living at home has absolutely been worth the financial independence of being able to save up, being able to grow my TikTok, being able to not have to get a 9-to-5 job. And again, it is a huge privilege, okay? The parachute of being able to live at home is a privilege. I understand that not everybody has it, but for those who do, if you want to pursue being a creator, an artist, a musician, all this stuff full time, there has to be some give and take there. I would not be able to live in New York City now if I had continued living in Baltimore and gigging. I would not have the resources to do it. I would not have the following to justify doing it. I would not have a lot of the things that would make me feel more comfortable being here. So I absolutely have the version of myself who sucked it up and was living at home to thank for this. You know, if you can save your money, if you can commit to your TikTok, your YouTube, whatever it is, grow your following, whatever, it's really all about being able to save your money. I'm not going to front. I would not be able to be here if I wasn't able to save so much. And yeah, I watch a lot of, call me problematic in the comment section, but I watch a lot of Caleb Hammer. I watch a lot of financial YouTube, and I'm always looking for ways to extend that as an energy, as a power, okay? And this year, the reason I'm not going to Burning Man this year, like the main reason, everything else aside, this is the year of my bag, okay? This is the year I am getting in my bag, committing and dedicating myself to being in my bag. I don't want to let anything else get in the way of that. And that's one of the reasons I'm able to be in New York City. And the rent I found out here was like Baltimore rent, okay? The rent I found out here, you guys can find the good deals that they talk about in Brooklyn. They're not lying. There are some really good deals in Brooklyn. Insane. If there's anybody out there who has succumbed to a scarcity mentality, let me just tell you, I did not envision that I could be living in a place so big for so cheap with such incredible housemates, my friend and his cat, in New York City. This is not something that I was thinking was an actual possibility, right? And I just want to say something that can get us out of that scarcity mentality is, one, a healthy amount of delusion, a little sprinkle of the delulu. I always think that the push of a healthy amount of delusion, and a lot of times, side note, what you think is you being delusional is actually just you coming into your power. I'll leave that for another video. But a little sprinkle of delusion, okay, and impulse, listening to your impulses, being more impulsive, especially if you're like me. I'm super type A. I'm super like, everything's gotta be just right. Everything's gotta be perfect for me to move, for me to go, for me to do this, to do that. Like, y'all, it's never going to be enough if you have that state of mind, especially if sometimes, like I said, you suffer with scarcity, things being scarce, resources being scarce. I think for me, it's listening to my impulses and knowing that sometimes my impulses might know better for me than I know for myself. Who knows how long I'm going to be in New York for? I could find a 90-day fiance the other way around, be on the other side of the world in a few months. I don't know. Not to say I would get married in a few months, but hit me up. Hit me up if you're trying to get me out of there. But in all honesty, if you're trying to get me out of this country, different topic for a different day. Comment below. No, I am doing a bunch of stuff now that I was getting really into when I was staying out in Los Angeles. Y'all know after I do the Burning Man thing, I typically will go back to San Francisco, or I'll go back to LA, stay with family there for a couple weeks. When I was in Los Angeles, though, I got really into taking comedy class, and I have gotten back to taking comedy class, which has been really lovely at UCB, which is a theater I've always admired. I always remember that being the place where Abby and Alana met, and just being like, wow, I would love to take a class at UCB someday. So yeah, I'm taking a class at UCB, and it's a great class, very much worth the money. I've seen the criticisms on TikTok. It is very much worth the money. There's 8 3-hour classes and a show at the end. You also get to work with someone who is professionally already doing the thing. And I think just being in proximity to people who are doing the things that I would really love to do one day professionally, priceless. But yeah, love my comedy class. I've been taking the subways, y'all. I see the reason why people jump the turnstile. Those costs pile up. I'm way too afraid to do it, so I won't, and I wouldn't. But the costs do pile up after a second. And it's just really beautiful being around so many people. I haven't been around this many people, maybe ever, in my life. It's a lot of people to be around, but so many beautiful people, you guys. People in New York are so hot, and just like dreadfully so, like depressingly so. So gorgeous, so brooding. I love the people. I love my neighborhood. It's like a very family-friendly neighborhood where I live. It's absolutely wonderful. I got donuts this morning, you guys. Where I come from in Maryland, where I was staying, there was only Dunkin' Donuts for miles. Only Dunkin' Donuts for miles and miles around. Here I have options. Insane. Everything's been going really well. inshallah, it will continue to. I just wanted to make this video as a little bit of inspiration for anybody who not just like doubts themselves, but feels like everything is really going to shit so much that they don't even need to put in an effort to try to go for the life that they eventually want to create, because it very much seems like right now futile. Like, what's the point? And for me, look, I am naturally very cynical. It's a challenge for me to be hopeful, especially given the state of the world, especially given the state of the country. But it's all about not succumbing to that and asking yourself the questions of like, how can you take your creative journey a day at a time? How can you take the small steps that will get you to the life that you want? Because I feel like every time I take a step towards the life that I want specifically, the more specific, the better. I'm rewarded for it. As soon as I came out here to New York, I started getting more brand deals, more sponsorships, more commissions, and it just like out the wazoo, out of nowhere. Not to say that that stuff is all intentional and it's tied up and everything happens for a reason. I don't necessarily believe that. But I will say, in my experience, I have been rewarded for going straight for the life that I want. I haven't been punished for it yet. No, I don't think I will be punished for it. It's been really lovely. I've been pouring myself into just being out here, living as a creator, working on putting together proof of concept for the documentary I'm working on out here. It's great to have a project with friends. It's great to already have friends here. But yeah, if you're watching this, don't sell yourself too short for your creative potential. I'm currently in artist recovery. I'm doing the artist's way. It's cringe, but it works, okay? I'm reading the book, The Artist's Way. I take the creative stuff, I leave out all the God stuff, you guys. If you want to listen to that book and you're secular, you totally can. Just replace the word God with ancestors. There are ways to work around that book. And it's helped put me in a more creative state of mind in terms of like really getting on the artist path, really living my life as an artist, really committing to that and not taking a few steps back. I'm making another video about this, but I did recently apply for my dream job and I got so far. Like, I almost got the job. Literally, I was in the running to almost get the job. And if I had gotten that job, I wouldn't have been able to go to Mexico for 5 weeks. I wouldn't have been able to come out here and live in New York City. I wouldn't have started going live on TikTok. I would not have blown up my accounts and expanded my potential in certain ways and really seriously expanded my following. So sometimes things happen and you don't know why until you're like, oh, okay, I wouldn't have been able to do this. And now I can at least maybe give a little bit of meaning to why something didn't really pan out in the way I had hoped for in the moment. But also, I have enough support on my YouTube, on my TikTok, with my brand stuff, et cetera, to not be applying for jobs right now. And so it's important to just stick to that and listen to it, even if I'm not making 6 figures a year yet. I just made this video just to show you guys I'm living in a very beautiful space. I'm living in a very beautiful state of mind. Don't sell yourself short for what is possible with your own creative journey. If you are an artist, if you're a creator, I think everybody is to a certain extent. What is the thing that you really want to do? If you can imagine it, even better. And what are the small steps you can take towards having a YouTube studio set up in New York City? If you told me at the top of this year, this is something I'd be able to do, I unfortunately probably wouldn't have believed you. But I think it's super important that I listen to my friends who have set this example for me of becoming more independent, going for the shit they want creatively, living that artist life, and that I in turn pay it forward by setting that example for my followers, whether it's coming to New York City, whether it's getting back into comedy classes, hopefully doing some more funny stuff out here in the city. Things I really feel like I should be doing. You know, we all know the things that we feel like we should be doing or that we were put here to do or our calling, you know? And it's just a matter of not ignoring that. And for me, my impulses and just living more impulsively have been the roadmap to what I actually want to do, where I actually want to be. I did not think I wanted to be here, but I'm having a great time here for now. Yeah, even if it's taking small steps to live more impulsively. If you take anything away from this video, it's that. Live more impulsively, listen to your impulses, let your impulses be a roadmap, obviously. All in moderation, whatever, but like the more type A you are, probably the more impulsive you might want to consider being, because that might not be in your nature. It certainly isn't in mine.
But it's time now to talk about what we've learned today.
I thought everything was going to be cramped. I imagined it would be small. I thought my room was going to be small. I thought everything here was going to be very little. I was thinking very small-mindedly. And when I got here, everything is 10 times as nicer, 10 times as bigger, 10 times as kinder than I imagined it. Especially visiting my sister's place in Manhattan. No shade, I love you. But I thought I would be living in a shoebox. I did not think there would be enough space for me to film and live and stretch and do yoga. And everything here is so much nicer than I imagined it or envisioned it. And if I listened to my first instinct of don't go to New York, it will be dirty, it will be small, it will be stressful, I would be back home spending my summer at home with family. I would probably get to see my friends a few times throughout the entire summer because they all live farther away, you know. Here, I am a train ride away from my friends. I am a train ride away from my sister. I am a knock away from one of my closest friends who's a roommate. And just when I tell you, things, when you go for it, could be so much better than you can even picture. 10 times nicer, at least, if I were to quantify it, at least 10 times nicer. This room is insane. I live with another filmmaker. Like, our house is lit insanely. This is what it looks like at night. Absolutely insane, absolutely gorgeous, absolutely chef's kiss, cinematic. I would not have imagined this version of living in New York for myself. I imagine living with 8 roommates, sharing a room with a roommate, living dorm style, like freshman year of college, for the price that I have this place at. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed hearing my story about coming to New York, having a lovely time here. Beautiful house, beautiful friends, beautiful community, beautiful neighborhood. 10 out of 10, would recommend. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. You can also find similar videos like this in the My Life playlist. And in the comments section, let me know what your dream city to live in is. For me, I have a lot of dream cities, but let me know in the comment section what your dream city is. I'm curious. I would love to know. You can also get with the realm on Instagram and TikTok at Chrysantilus and check out this super trippy, keep it trippy merch in our merch shop. I am also selling these Chrysantilus journals, including a trip journal, so please be sure to check that out. All the links are in the description. As I said at the top of this video, we seriously need the support of our Patreon patrons. We thank our Patreon patrons. We honor our Patreon patrons. If you are able to, please peep the link in our bio and consider supporting the channel. I am a one-woman production studio. I have no team, and this is the support that our channel specifically needs to survive right now. YouTube is getting harder and harder to monetize, especially the content that you typically see on this channel. So please be sure to click that link in the description especially. And lastly, I am now offering one-on-one sessions that you can book with me using the link in my description if you're interested in doing the content creator thing, especially TikTok or live streaming. Even if you're interested in publishing a journal of your own, you can now book one-on-one sessions with me at sliding scale costs. So please be sure to click that and book via Calendly. All right, you guys, I hope you dug this video. I hope you dug my new place in New York. If you want a house tour, let me know. I can ask my roommate. We'll see how much we can show. I think a house tour would be a fun future video. And let me know if you have any ideas for future videos. Drop it in the comment section. I hope y'all have a wonderful summer. I hope that y'all can get a little bit more impulsive, okay? And as always, keep it trippy.